Okay, so this is going to be your first scraping homework. So I just downloaded the latest version, Python 3.8.1. Now in Windows, I didn't know exactly where it installed, but it turns out that it installs in the C drive program files x86, and then it installs there. So that's where it's installed in case you want to know. And after that installation, as you recall, let's go to the homework. So this is the homework, and here's the address. And if you go to here, if you recall, we need to use these two modules, this one and this one. So I tried to install those using the pip. So when you install Python, one of the options is to allow the pip to be installed. So that makes installing other modules easier. So I left that selected, and then I went here and I tried to install Beautifulsoup. Now actually the command that he gives us is to install both Beautifulsoup and requests. So, but anyway, I just tried installing Beautifulsoup by itself. And so it starts, the command is pip, and this is at the command line. So at the command line, you just type pip install Beautifulsoup. So I tried that. So it says collecting Beautifulsoup using cache something or another, installing the collected packages, and it says these things, and then it says error. Could not install packages due to an environment error. Win error 5. Access is denied. Somehow my system was denying it permission to install in this location. So it was trying to install in program files, Python, lib, site packages here. But I got this error. And then it says, warning, you are using pip version. Okay. It tells you that you might want to upgrade your pip, but that's not necessary. But anyway, sorry, it says here, consider using -- user option or check the permissions. So I looked around and then I realized, oh, they just meant that I'm supposed to type in pip install Beautifulsoup -- user. So I tried that, and then it does the same thing. It says collecting Beautifulsoup 4. It gives this and this, installing collected packages, and successfully installed. So it seems to work if you use that -- user. Okay, then I forgot that I hadn't installed requests, so I did the same thing with requests. That's another package that we need, and that seems to have worked as well, successfully installed. Okay, so then I had everything installed. Now he says that we need this, but I don't think we need this. At least for what I've done so far, we didn't need it. Anyway, so then I opened up Python, and we want to start installing the packages, or we have to start running these commands. So from requests, we have to import the get function. From request exceptions, we have to import this one. From context lib, we have to import this one. And from bs4, which is the Beautifulsoup package, we have to import this. So we have to run all of that. So I just tried to copy this and paste it, but that doesn't really work very well. So I tried that here, but it gives me syntax error because you can't do multiple statements while compiling a single statement. So I have to do them one at a time. So the first one was from requests get import, so that one worked actually. but then the others didn't work. So from requests exceptions, import that. So I did that one. That worked. Then the next one worked, and the next one worked. Okay, so that all worked finally. Then we have to create these functions that we talked about in class. Now, you can see that we're in this function that we're defining, we use something called get. And get was part of this request module, and we got it. So we can use it. So we're defining something that uses the get function. And this, in his code here, he defines this function called simple get. So I guess it's a little easier to use than just the straightforward get. For example, we probably don't have to put this in, which I guess when you're doing get, you have to put that in, but we won't have to do that, I guess. So anyway, and as I explained in class, we could just type this. We don't need the try, but the try helps because if this for some reason fails, the program would crash. But if you put it in a try, then it won't crash. It will just stop and give you some kind of return message like this. You can define what kind of message you want it to give. And so we're putting it, that's a standard method of programming, is to put this try and accept. And so you put what you're trying to run inside the try, and then you write this, and you can generate an error message, but it won't crash the program if it doesn't work. Okay, so anyway, we have to paste this into our idle. So copy it and paste it, but I tried to paste that one plus, well, no, I guess I didn't. I thought I did. Okay, so I pasted that in, and that worked. And then I have to, he creates another function here called isGoodResponse. So I just copied that. We went through this in some detail in class, and also this one we have to put in. So I put those in, and we got get def simple get, def isGoodResponse, and def this one I tried to put two in at once. It didn't like that, so I had to do the first one first, and then the second one. So this one came second. Okay, then we start to follow his tutorial here. So he says from mathematician import simple get, but I already have simple get. I just finished defining it. So in this session of Python, I don't need to redefine it, and he must have stored everything in here. I didn't see where he mentions that, but he must have stored everything in here, and then he's got. But anyway, we don't need this line. Okay, so the first thing we need is raw HTML simple get. Okay, so what I want you to do, though, is not do it on this page, which he does in his example, but rather go to this page. So this is an example page for practicing web scraping. So it's obviously a very simple page, and you can see the address up here. So this is what you want to put in, example web page, webscraping.com. And what we're going to try and do is collect, for example, the names of these countries, I guess, and maybe some other things that are in this page. So this is a very simple page. There's not that much in the page, but we could check and see what is in the page. We can go to view page source. And even though it's quite simple, there's still some stuff in here. So here's the header. This is all the header here. It's a lot of stuff, but that's the header. And then the body starts, and it looks like there's some kind of, I don't know what these are, and a couple links here, and some other stuff here, example web scraping website. And finally down here is all that list of countries along with their images and so forth. And so we want to I want you to collect, for example, the list of this and this, and get the whole list, Afghanistan, right? So I want you to do that. And then you can also collect things like the image data. So the image data, by that I just mean, I guess, this URL. It's not actually a full URL, is it? It's kind of it's called a relative URL. It's not the full URL. But anyway, you can capture this string and this string and so on. So that's what you're supposed to do for homework. Now you can also capture these strings. So this string was for the image. So this is like where this image is located. And then there's also these URLs. Now, oftentimes URLs are not given as relative URLs. They're given as the whole URL, which I guess would look something like this. I guess it might look like this. Whoops. How do I get there? Let's see. I guess I can't paste in here. Anyway, it would be like this / this. So normally you could collect like a whole bunch of URLs, but in this case we're only going to be able to collect these things, whatever's in the quote here, and then go to this URL, whatever's in that quote. So it would also be good to collect that. Now, to do that, at first I couldn't get it. So I'll give you a little hint, and you come back and look at this after you've tried. It might help you. First I tried this. I thought, oh, the URL must be href, must be the keyword for that. And that was wrong. And then I said, oh, maybe it's the A, because URLs have the A tag. This is the A tag over here. But that didn't quite work either. Or actually it worked, but I couldn't print it. Or actually what I did when I did print it was I got kind of a mess, which I didn't want. So finally the trick was, it turned out I looked up, did a little search on the internet, and I found that you have to use this part here, LK, and then square brackets, and then with href there. And then I got this list of URLs. So I'll ask you to do that too. So with his tutorial, what he did was he used a different URL. So he used this URL, and he used his simple get function on that, and he stored the results in here. And if you print this out, you'll get something like, I'll run this, and then if I just print it out, raw _ HTML, so it gives me this sort of message, and you can double click on it to see what's really in it. But there's a lot of stuff in there, 7,000 something. So anyway, if I double click on it, do you really want to expand it? Okay, I do. So you get this whole page of all the stuff in that page. Now this is the page that he was looking at. And I don't know, I didn't try it with his before, but it looks like it's crashing actually, not responding. Now I just tried it on that simple example web page here, and it didn't do this. So maybe this is just too much for the shell to handle, I'm not sure. But if you try it just on that simple page, it doesn't seem, oh, here, finally, there's really a lot here, I guess. I didn't realize there's. So if you try it just on the simple page, you won't run into this problem. Anyway, so you can put in the other page here, and then you can, this is why maybe there's so much data in there. Okay, anyway, then So you can try it with the one that this page here, and it'll work much more smoothly. And what I wanted to show you just now, which I can't seem to do because it's frozen, but what I wanted to show you is if you do the simple get and you look at the raw HTML, which is what I just tried to do, well, that's kind of big and messy. But if you pass that raw HTML variable into the Beautifulsoup, you should also check, or you should check to see what that looks like. So you can do this and then just type HTML or print HTML, either way. And you can see the difference between when you output what's in here versus when you output what's in here. And you'll see that after passing it through Beautifulsoup, it looks much better. Okay, then after you've done that, then we want to run code basically like this. So I'm going to leave this for you to explore. So we don't want to get the P's. So what you're supposed to get, and I'm not going to show you exactly how to do it. I gave you just one hint about the URLs. But what you're supposed to get is, going back to the page, supposed to get these names. And then if we go back and view syrup source, so you're supposed to get a list of those names. In fact, you can even store it in a list. Or you should get just print it out and show me a screenshot. And you should get the href, which I just kind of gave you a hint about how to get that, and also the img. So we want to see a printout of these names, then also the imgs, which means like these things, this and then this one and so on, and also the hrefs, and also try to store them in lists and then print out the list. So that is your homework assignment.